This is Michaela doing this screencast for Team Cobalt for Deliverable 2. In this deliverable, we focused on redoing some of the diagrams from Deliverable 1 based on the feedback that we got, as well as restructuring our system using an MVC architecture. We also created an activity diagram for one of the key workflows, and we designed some UI to go along with our system. As you can see here, this is our team reflection, and we have our individual reflections as well, meeting overviews. This high-level class diagram is one of the ones that we redid based off of the feedback that we got. And then we also looked over the use case diagram here as well. And then a little bit further down, this is our redesigned system using an MVC architectural structure. Each of them, there are a couple of different levels here. We have our console view, we have our controllers, and then down here we have our models. I'll start talking about our models first. These are where they're going to contain the core system data and logic. Some of the main ones include the race one down here, our race model, which is going to store all the relevant race details and logic. We also have registration, which is also really important. That's right here, and the results as well. So those are the most important models. But we broke them down into further models as well, just to try and prevent as much, to try and separate them into single responsibilities as much as possible. Up here, we have the view, which is going to be mostly just displaying stuff to the console interface for the user. The next most important thing on here is probably our controllers after the models. They're going to be the one that is controlling the models. So we have some big ones here. We have the user controller, which is going to handle account creation and license purchases. We have the race controller, which is down here, which is going to handle race creation and updates. We have the registration controller, which is going to handle registration and eligibility checks. And we also have the admin controller, which is going to handle users, licenses, and system settings. This separation helps reduce coupling and keeps the system modular and allows us to make the system easier to extend in future deliverables. Down here we have our use case that we decided, the workflow that we decided to focus on, which is the registering for a race, since that's probably something that's going to happen a lot with this system. So you can see that it shows how a user moves through the system step by step. The process is going to start with a user registering for a race and entering their personal information. If there's any errors there, we have this little loop here that will make sure that they are entering the information that is valid. We'll also have a step here that checks to see if they're eligible for the race. If the answer is yes, we can continue. If not, we'll get an eligibility reason, and they'll get a notification, and then it'll exit the system. If they are eligible, we'll go into payment information. Again, we have another loop here depending on if the payment is successful or not. If it is, the registration is created, we get a success message, they get a notification, and then they exit the system. So this diagram here represents the main workflow, or one of the main workflows for the system. Down here we have our UI sketches. They are going to follow the same kind of logic that we had for our system. This is going to follow the same workflow. So you got register for a race, you got the buttons here where you would enter information, what it would look like if there was an error, payment information, same kind of thing if there's errors. There's an design for success, like if it's a successful message, if there's an ineligible, and then we've got our review down here. So that's what we got for Deliverable 2. We're going to use this going forward. In the next deliverable, we plan to refine the design further. We introduced by introducing design patterns. We've talked a little bit about what might be useful to use in the system, and working on implementing going forward. Thank you for watching the Deliverable 2 presentation.